back to another watercolor tutorial. Today we are going to do a favorite subject of mine, birch trees. This is called Moonlit Birches because we have the moon right here shining on top of the birches or shining onto the birches and creating these beautiful colors. For this you'll need your watercolor brushes and your paints. You'll need some painter's tape in order to hold the paper down to a hard background, as well as to put on your paper to cover the trees before we paint them in bright colors. You're going to need a pair of scissors to cut out a little round piece of that tape for the moon. You're going to need a black crayon to put some black texture on top of your birch trees. And of course, a glass of water and a little towelette to clean your brushes. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm all set here. I have my paper taped down so it doesn't slide around while I'm painting. I have my tape for my trees and my moon, my scissors, my black crayon and my brushes, my glass of water, and my palette of paint. So the first thing I want to do is put our moon somewhere on the paper. Of course, can't be down low, right? We want to put it up high in the sky. You can decide whether to put it on the left side, the middle, or the right side. You can take your pencil and maybe your glue stick to trace a circle if you want. I'm just going to do a little bit of a freehand. Okay, there's my somewhat round moon. Now I'm going to take some strips of my paint, the whole length of my paper, just rip it off. And it's not going to be, my trees are not going to be perfectly straight because no tree is perfectly straight with smooth lines on either side. So I'm going to maybe stick it at the top first, and then I'm going to kind of bend it, crinkle it. Can you see as I'm setting it down like this? It's not going to be a perfectly straight tree. Okay, that's one tree. We're going to make 3 trees. Next piece, that long again. Maybe this one is a little bit thinner at the top, and I'm going to make this one lean a little bit. Okay, make sure you do push that tape down hard so that when you put the black background on, it doesn't leak under it. My last tree, I'm going to put my last tree over here. It's not going to touch my moon, but I think I'll have a branch going over the moon. Now, I did not make this piece of tape long enough, but that's okay. I'm just going to cut another little piece or rip another piece off and put it at the bottom here. No big deal. NBD. Okay, push it all down, iron it with your fingers so that it's nice and flat, including your border. Get yourself another piece and just, you can use your scissors to cut the branches or just rip it off, or a little both. I'm going to make a cut and then rip that off and see what happens. I'm going to make this branch go just under the moon. And again, you're crinkling and wrinkling, and then iron it flat with your fingers. If you have a piece of tape like this, see what I've got? Fat side here, skinny side at the top. You know how to make that look like a good branch. Fat side will attach to the tree. And mine's just going off the picture there. I'm going to use some of the little bits I took off when cutting my moon. Maybe put that down here. I want to just show you this one I did earlier. You can see how some of the white, I just didn't let the paint, well, I didn't really control it. I just didn't brush all the way over to the tree. And I like how that white makes it look like it's just the moon shining on it from the other side. Remember, there's no right or wrong when it comes to art. All right, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to get ready with my paint. Now, I know you guys all have your paint kits, which are, the paint pieces are called little cakes. And all you need to do is get your brush really wet and make yourself a nice dark black puddle, and we're going to cover our whole page. You can paint right over the tape. You see how dark that is? This is how dark I want it on this side. It's going to be a little lighter as we get closer to the moon. As I get close to the moon, I am going to use a little more water so that it's looking lighter. We're going to have a bit of a glow around our moon. I'm now going to take my wet brush and I'm going around the moon because I don't want it too black. And I'm just going to take off. I wet my brush, I dry it a little bit, and you can see how I'm lifting some of the darker stuff just closer to the moon because it's a little bit lighter. Now, my friends, here's the really hard part. Now we have to wait for this black to dry. Get some exercise. Put a dance video on. Yeah. All right, your painting is perfectly dry. Let's take off the tape very gently. Please don't rip it off. Sometimes it does stick to the paper. It's not supposed to because this is special painter's tape, but sometimes it does. Of course, on the video, this will be sped up, so it might look like I'm ripping it off, but I'm just doing it slowly as I'd like you to do it. I'm not going to take the moon off just yet. I will leave that there. Now I want you to take your black crayon and we're going to put markings on the birch trees because birch trees have a lot of black markings. Mostly they're lines that go horizontally across the birch tree. Sometimes they're knots. I'm just going to put a variety of them and I'm going to press hard so that they're nice and dark. All right? Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to get a smaller brush, dip it into my water, and I'm going to start with a color. I think I will go with purple. So I'm getting my wet brush into the purple, picking it up, and I think I'll put my purple tree in the middle. So this is wet on dry because we're using a wet brush and we're putting it on dry paper. And leave some white spots. While I let that purple dry, I'm cleaning my brush and I'm going to dip it into a pinkish red. And I think I'll paint the tree on the right here. And for my third tree, I'm going to make it green and yellow, I think. So I'm going to put some yellow on first. I'm going to go back to my purple tree. Yes, the paint is still wet. That's okay. I'm going to make it purple and blue. So I'm getting some blue on my brush and I'm dabbing it and blending it in some cases, just leaving it blue in others. It's looking pretty cool. All right, cleaning my brush, going to get the color to blend with my red, and I think I'm going to pick a slightly different shade of blue, and I want to keep it maybe lighter because I know that blue and red will make, yes, purple. I like how my blue and red are mixing, but I know that I'm going to want a darker red color, so I'm going to dip into my paints basket and get another red out so I can make it. All right, I have a different red now and I'm going to add that and make it a little brighter. And because this is watercolor, my friends, we are letting the paint, the water, and the paper just kind of create their own scene. I'm now going to add some green to my yellow tree. Now, my friends, I'm looking at my blue-purple tree and it's kind of blended into a big blob and I want a few more highlights. So I'm taking my paper towel and I'm scrunching it up and I'm just going to dab it while it's still wet. My green and my yellow blended quite nicely, but now I think I'm going to add a little bit orange just to give it a little bit of distinction, a little more color. Now, I got some red on my yellow, orange, green tree and I don't want it there. Do you remember the trick for taking paint off? Get your brush wet, dab it a bit on the towel, and then roll it, roll it, roll it. And it just pulls that color off. And now I just need to go back with some green and yellow and orange. All right, and I think I'm good with that, friends. I'm going to let it dry. All right, my friends, things are dry. You can peel off your moon. And there we have it. If you like this tutorial and you want to do more, there's a lot of tutorials on my YouTube channel. Just search Yayla Productions. And you can find crayon tutorials, acrylic painting tutorials, and more watercolors. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.